Every sip of Coca-Cola brings you closer to the excitement of the FIFA World Cup 26. Because nothing compares to the joy. So grab a Coke and drink in the FIFA World Cup 26. No purchase necessary. 13 plus in 50 U.S. states and D.C. with a web-enabled device. Ends March 1st with 8 entry periods. Rules at cokeurl.com/soccerrules.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful Friday morning, or maybe it's Friday evening. Maybe it's even Saturday or Sunday, or whenever you guys decide to listen to this episode. But I hope you guys are enjoying whatever day it is in podcast land. And we're going to get this episode kicked off this week by covering one of my favorite calibers, or cartridges, whatever you want to call them. But we're going to go all the way back into some deep history on this a little bit before we even get to the cartridge itself, because it's very interesting stuff. But that cartridge is, of course, the Venerable 30-06. The creation of the 30-06. It begins all the way back in 1846, actually, matter of fact. That's a weird thing to say. But there's this German-Swiss chemist by the name of Christian Friedrich Schonbein, and he created this explosive substance called nitrocellulose, otherwise known as gun cotton back in the day. And my God, it was a breakthrough discovery back then, but it was also proven to be way too fast burning as gun cotton, and it was also unstable for practical use in firearms. And that is until this crazy French bastard by the name of Paul Vielle. Pauly V. We'll call him Pauly V from here on out. Pauly V, he picked up where Schonbein left off. And between the years of 1882 and 1884, Pauly V worked tirelessly, probably while eating thin pancakes and chiefing on very skinny cigarettes. But he was trying to find a way to stabilize nitrocellulose enough to effectively use in firearms and artillery. And after loads and loads and loads of trial and error, he figured out that by transforming gun cotton into a colloidal substance, by gelatinizing it in an alcohol ether mixture, and then further stabilizing it with amyl alcohol, it would finally be workable. But that wasn't the end. After the gelatinizing process, he would take this huge-ass roller press and press it out into very super thin sheets. And then after that, he would dry it all out, and then he would cut it up into very small flakes. I know what you guys are thinking now. It's eerily similar to Walter White making meth and Breaking Bad, right? The only difference is that was blue, and it was also meth, not gunpowder or, whatever this gun cotton, this new gun cotton ended up being. Anyways, after Pauly V decided to take his victory laps around for figuring out how to stabilize gun cotton, he ended up naming it Pewter B, or Powder B. It's French, so it's pewter probably, or powder. It's Powder B. Probably. We'll just call it Powder B because we're American. But later on, after it became popular and he created, and before it even got popular, just after he created it, they ended up just calling it what we know today, and that's called smokeless powder. So it's changed a lot since then, but back then, Pewter B, also known as smokeless powder, it really took the rest of the world by storm, and it really didn't take that long for the mighty US of A, USA, 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 you know what I'm saying, to start developing weaponry to accommodate this groundbreaking propellant. Leave it to America. Wait for someone else to figure something out like that and then jump to the game and try making something out of it. Something really cool like a gun. You know what I'm saying? So, but also, we're going to move on after that. So I hope you guys like that little history lesson on smokeless powder. I thought it was pretty interesting because after that, the weaponry that America decided to make. And after a lot of testing other weapons and rifles and all that stuff, and probably a lot of political bickering back and forth as well to figure out what we wanted, the U.S. Army decided to adopt the 30-40 Krag. I know, it's not the 30-06 yet, but is the 30-40 Krag was the first weapon that we decided to use with smokeless powder. But the real test for the Krag was actually during the Spanish-American War. And after some very bloody battles against those Mauser-wielding Spaniards, America went back to the drawing board and started testing new rifles and cartridge combinations. And ultimately, America landed on their very own version of the Mauser, which is interesting because when we went to war with 30-40 Krags, got our asses kind of handed to us. We didn't lose, obviously, we're America, but we did suffer a lot of casualties in that war, and it was really because of those fucking Mausers. And we're like, damn, those things ruled. So we made the American version of the Mauser, and that was the M1903 Springfield, chambered in 30-03, not 30-06, 30-03. But the reloading, and with this weapon, the Springfield 03, which it will be later known as, the Springfield 03 was a far superior design than the Krag. And the use of stripper clips made reloading significantly faster, but it wasn't quite perfect. The 220 grain round-nosed bullet that they were using was just too heavy and ballistically inferior to the Spitzer bullets other countries were using. So once again, other countries changed up how bullets were made during all this madness, and we realized that the Spitzer bullets were much more ballistically sound, much more accurate, and much more better. And if you guys don't know what Spitzer bullets are, you can Google it and figure out, but it's basically the design that every bullet is made out now, like that pointy end, how bullets have a very pointy end. Back in the day, they didn't have pointy ends, they were rounded. It was just a big round slug traveling out of a gun, so they decided by, boring that down, making it a point, it'd be much more aerodynamic, much more better. So, but back in those days is much, a lot of things were happening all at the same time. So, where was I at here? I fucking done lost my train of thought. But, the bullet was just too heavy and ballistically inferior to those Spitzer bullets that other countries were using. So in 1906, America decided to shorten the 30-03 case just very slightly in order to fit a new 150 grain Spitzer bullet. And finally, the United States had the winning combination that became known to the world as the 30-06 Springfield. So there's a lot of change in that time frame back in those days. Really new developments, between propellants and bullets. A lot of shit was changing pretty quickly in the world. And after the Spanish-American War, in America suffering some pretty big casualties during that war, we decided we're not going to be outgunned ever again. So if another country comes up with some other shit that's way better than what we're using, we're just going to go ahead and adopt it and use it because we don't want to lose anymore, or lose as many men and lose these battles. So 30-06 Springfield was born. And basically, from machine guns to sniper rifles, the 30-06 has dealt death to America's enemies for over 70 years. But back at home, also, there's a lot of returning soldiers, especially after World War II, that found a new use for their beloved service cartridge and weapons, because they were kind of allowed to bring their weapons back after World War II and shit like that, which is pretty badass. But they ended up making sporterized versions of the M1903 Springfield, and those rifles ended up finding their way into the hands of sportsmen across the nation and onto the civilian market. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, this 30-06 fucking rules. We're going to start chambering new rifles for the 30-06, making it one of the most widely used cartridges in North America and beyond. Ernest Hemingway famously sang its praise in his book, Green Hills of Africa. And when he took down a multitude of game, including sable, kudu, Cape buffalo, lions, and even a fucking rhino. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. He fucking killed a rhino with a goddamn 30-06. It's fucking nuts. But I wouldn't really personally recommend the 30-06 for a dangerous game. I mean, obviously it can be done because Ernest Hemingway did it, and that son of a bitch don't lie, right? But also, aside from me just personally not recommending it, it's also illegal for use for dangerous African game. So I think I'm pretty sure the smallest round you can use on dangerous game in Africa in most countries is 375. So that'd be like your 375 H&H or 375 Ruger, and then up into your 4s, 416 Rigby's and all that good stuff. Those are dangerous game cartridges in Africa. I think there's some countries in Africa that allow you to use the 9.3 round still, because it's just kind of grandfathered in. But for the most part, 375s are your lowest or your smallest caliber that you can use for a dangerous game. And the 30-06, it really is not. It's not made for that, right? It's made for North American game, or those like bigger plains game out in Africa and all that good stuff. But also when you load it up with 220 grain solids, it can certainly get the job done in the hands of a skilled marksman, obviously. But also back at home with 30-06, the famous hunter Dr. J.Y. Jones famously used his Remington 700 chambered 30-06 to take all 43 North American big game species and subspecies, which he chronicled in his book, One Man, One Rifle, One Land. So you can read about his ventures with 30-06 and all that good stuff there. I've actually never read that book, but I should, because it sounds pretty interesting. But basically there's a reason why this cartridge has stuck around for almost 120 years. It is the big game cartridge that all other cartridges are compared to. And in my opinion, the 30-06 is the reason why America is considered 30 cal country. Everyone loves a 30 cal in America, and it really, I think, the 30-06 has a lot to do with that. But that 308 bullet is by far the most popular size in America, and that is certainly due in part to the popularity of the 30-06. So love it or hate it, the 30-06 has been around forever, and it's killed everything. Literally everything that I can think of that someone would want to kill, whether it's animals or people, the 30-06 has taken it down very handily. So it's definitely not a cartridge that you should snuff your nose at just because you're into the newest, coolest shit, like all those PRCs and stuff like that, which they're great cartridges as well. But you really got to pay a lot of homage to the 30-06, and this is a big reason why, in my opinion, with its military background and just its killing capacities on animals and everything. It's an amazing round. It's really, really cool, and it's made a long ass time ago, so it's pretty neat that's still around. But into my conclusion, the 30-06 isn't just good for war, though. It's also really good for big game animals, and it's incredibly versatile. You can go from hunting prairie dogs and coyotes with a 120 grain Hornady VMAX, or you can go to dangerous game like big old Bruins. I know I just said not dangerous game, but I'm talking about bears here. Dangerous game like big old Bruins with a 200 grain Federal Trophy bonded bear claw if you wanted to. A lot of people would say don't do that too, but you can. In America, you can hunt grizzlies and shit with the 30-06. There's no minimums that I know of. So go ahead. Kill to your heart's desire, because this cartridge has killed everything. But also, if you're more into chasing ungulates like I am, the 180 grain Nosler partition is a very hard one to beat. And when it comes to big tough animals like African plains game, moose and elk, it's great. It's really great from what I've heard. I've never actually killed any of that stuff with 180 grain Nosler partition, nor have I ever killed any of those animals, I guess. But it's done it. It's a very, very good cartridge and a very good round for that caliber. But also, you can feel at home when you're sitting in the Midwest if your state allows you to use rifles like a 30-06. And if you're just a whitetail hunter sitting on the edge of a bean field, ripping cigs and sipping on coffee, then you can have some great success with a great deer cartridge in the 30-06. So basically, no matter what the quarry is, someone out there has killed it with a 30-06. Everything. And it might be getting up there in age, and I know a lot of you would like to discount it for some of the new cartridges like I was just discussing previously, but people of every generation continue to get out there in the woods and pick up a 30-06 and take it afield. Whether it's based on nostalgia or not, the truth is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And honestly, there ain't much to fix when it comes to the Venerable 06. So don't mind me on some of those pronunciations and all that stuff. I wrote this out, and originally I had like fucking 4 pages of shit because I was like going to go into all how like a little bit more in detail about, you know, the smokeless powder and gunpowder and all that good stuff. And I ended up just nixing a lot of that stuff and condensing it down to just the 30-06. And honestly, for me, that's painful enough because I had a bit of a script going on here. And if you couldn't tell, it's kind of hard to read sometimes and go off script and go back on script, but it is a lot of fun. I love the 30-06 and I think it's a great cartridge. And I really think that, if you don't have one, you should probably get one, honestly. And if you are going to get one, you should probably get one with just a good old-fashioned fucking hardwood stock, because that shit just looks American as hell, let's be honest. Blued barrels, walnut stock, fucking controlled round feed action. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, I hope you guys like that. I don't know, a little history lesson. 30-06, pretty awesome. And it's also been the parent cartridge to a shit ton of other cartridges that everyone knows and loves, like 35 Whalen. We're going to get into that sometime too, 35 Whalen. I need to get one real bad. I'm itching. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And if you want to, you can get on your podcast listening app, leave me a review. And I'm probably, I should probably just go through some of the reviews that I do have and just read them off, because there's some pretty good ones on there. But yeah, go ahead and leave me a review. I really do appreciate that. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. I'm gonna, like I said before a million times, I'm gonna start doing more on Twitter just because of Zuck and all of his bullshit. But yeah, good big things coming to Victory Drive and Working Class Bow Hunter. Stay tuned. It's going to get pretty sick out there. So thank you all from the very bottom of my heart for listening and dealing with me talking into a microphone with no one else here to talk to besides you guys listening that can't really talk back. And I wish you could. But maybe someday down the road we'll talk to each other face to face in person. Anyways, I've kept you here long enough. Take care. Have a great weekend. Love you guys.